Welcome back to Simple Life Chronicles, where we share our practical country life with all of you. My name is Aisha, and today we just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the basics of living here in the country. One of the basic things that I just want to make sure we cover is that much of our country life is right here, outside, in the yard, in the garden, roaming around the property. So you can expect that much of our time together is going to be spent here in the wonderful outdoors. And in keeping with that, there are some just basic things I'm going to mention here, and then we're going to talk about something else that's very basic to being here, and that's going to be water. One of the first things I grab when I come outside, I want to make sure I have, is a good pair of gloves. These are from a number of different places. You can get them from Home Depot, you can get them from Dollar Tree, you can find some on eBay, on Amazon. There's just a lot of different places that you can get them. I like them because they have a nice nitrile covering here that keeps water and moisture to a minimum so that I can work a little longer, because if my hands get wet, I usually want to change them out and dry them out. And they also just cover your hands so that as you're working in the yard, in the garden, if you're dealing with thorny or prickly plants, they help to keep the irritation to your skin to the minimum. Also, if there are any ticks or mosquitoes, bugs, or even, lizards or different things, you don't have to worry so much about things touching your hands and possibly causing irritation. The other thing that I'm going to make sure to have is a nice wide-brimmed hat. My hat is essential to being out here in the garden, in the yard. If I come out early in the morning, we're talking anywhere from 6 to 7 a.m. right now in the summertime. The sun is not very strong and there's a lot of shade cast over much of the property. But as the day goes on, the sun is very seriously intense and you could easily burn and really do some damage to your skin. So a nice wide brim hat helps to keep that sun right off my face. Not having to worry about the sun getting in my eyes is very helpful. It helps me to stay focused, and the tail on the back helps to keep it off of my neck. The next thing that may not be so obvious, and some people think it's not as essential, but for me it's very essential, is I wear long sleeve shirts when I come out to work in the yard. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees or 32 degrees. It's really about protecting my skin from the sun and from, coming in contact with different things. I may have to reach into a pretty bushy area or a pretty bushy plant to prune or to pull out unwanted weeds. And so it's just one less thing for me to worry about. Now, if some of you are interested in getting a tan, I just want to let you know that you can still tan through a shirt like this. I know I've come inside a couple times, and as my mom was talking to me and I'm, getting ready for the night and, stripping down, she has, noticed that I am getting a tan through my shirt, especially on my back. She can see the tan lines. My apron is crossed back, and you can actually see the tan lines going across my back. Another thing that is essential for me when I come out is my apron. Now, that's a personal choice. As a woman, I find that many of the clothes that I'm going to wear, that I'm comfortable in when I come to work in the yard, they don't have pockets enough to hold what I bring with me. So I like to have an apron to help with that. And it's really mostly for the pockets. It's not really about a fashion statement. It's just for function. So I like aprons with 3 pockets. And in those pockets, I keep my gloves when I don't have them on my hands. I just fold them up nicely like this and put them in, so that way they're not contaminating anything. Another thing that's essential for me, especially during the summer, is a sweat rag. It gets hot out here, and I can just go ahead and take care of business, put it back in my pocket, and keep moving. I didn't find that to be so essential in the wintertime, but here in the summertime, it has become essential. It's just a washcloth. I use a new one every day, and sometimes I'll change it out multiple times a day if it's really getting used a lot. A couple other things that I keep on me just because of practical experience in the yard. I'll keep a little bit of twine on me. This is mostly for the garden. Right now we have some trellises in the garden, and I grow cucumbers, tomatoes. I'm trying to think what else is on the trellises. Well, right now there's a cantaloupe growing on one of them. This year I didn't intend to grow them on the trellis, but there's one on there. And so sometimes a plant just needs a little bit of help staying on the trellis, and so I'll use a little bit of twine. Something else that I keep in the center pocket is a pair of heavy duty scissors. I can't tell you how many times I've needed to use these, especially if I'm going to use the twine, I have to cut it off somewhere. So need some scissors. I also use these for pruning my plants. I have a pair of secateurs or shears that are, more compact. Sometimes I keep those on me, but that's not something I keep on me every day. I'll go grab those if I need them, but I keep these on me at all times. I can cut any number of things. If I'm working on a project in the yard, I can't tell you how many times I've used these scissors, so I just keep them on me. And the other thing that I keep on me is my utility knife. Sometimes the scissors are not quite adapted for what I need. I use cardboard quite extensively in the gardening. We'll get more into that later, but if I need to cut something like a box, or I need to just kind of, slice something off, this is nice to have around for a number of different reasons. And lastly, not really anything super special, I keep my keys on me. Sometimes I don't keep my car keys on me, but I at least keep some house keys on me. As I mentioned in our introductory video, we have three autonomous adults living here on this property. And I may come outside to work on something, or go explore something, or work in the garden, and my mom or my brother may not have seen me leave the inside of the house. They may not realize that I'm outside, and if they decide to go to the post office or to the store or something like that, they might leave the house, lock the doors, and then I'm outside locked out. So I always keep some keys on me so that I don't get locked out of my own house, right? That's pretty important. So now, besides the apron and the stuff that's in the apron, I would just recommend that if you're coming to work outside in the yard, that you wear clothes that you're comfortable in. For me, I'm quite comfortable in a skirt with a few, with my boots, and I usually wear leggings or nylons underneath my skirt. We're here in the country. I've got the boots on in case it's wet out here. It's usually wet in the morning, and I'm going to be stepping into all kinds of different situations while I'm out here, especially if I'm watering plants. So I want to keep my feet dry and keep them comfortable. Boots usually are the shoe of choice for that. And the leggings are more for protecting my skin against things like ticks or mosquitoes. We have deer, we have rabbits, we have other animals that the ticks like to travel on, and sometimes they end up in places where I'm going to be at. And if I just have that extra layer of protection on my skin, I find that I spend a lot less time picking ticks off of me. Maybe you'll find a different way of approaching it, but for me, that's what works. So with all of that covered, let's get into water and how we go about making sure that our garden stays watered well so that our plants can thrive and produce, and we can actually gain the benefit of having all these wonderful plants here in our garden on our property. So stay tuned. You're going to see what it looks like, just a glimpse of just getting water on the plants. Okay, so some of you may have noticed that we're lugging buckets around, and you may be wondering, why don't you have an irrigation system set up? That's a great question, and it deserves a great answer. The real reason why we don't have an irrigation system set up here is I didn't plan for it. And I didn't have everything decided in my mind when we started our garden. I didn't know where I was going to put everything. That's still a work in progress. And so hand watering allows for flexibility. If I decide to change an arrangement, if I decide to change placement, while I'm still trying to get my mind wrapped around where everything is going to really be, I have the flexibility of changing when we need to without worrying about moving a whole system along with it. Secondarily, the irrigation system is going to cost some money. And until we have a set budget on that, we're just going to hold off and keep hand watering in the meantime. And thirdly, there's an advantage to hand watering that many people forget about, and that is that you develop a very intimate relationship with your plants, with your garden, with your landscape. You get to notice more things. You may have noticed in the introduction to the videos that there are pictures of creatures, butterflies, toads, frogs. Those pictures were taken while I was out watering or weeding, because it gives me the opportunity to get close to the plants, to see what's going on there. And while I was there, I was able to notice some really beautiful things and snapped a picture to be able to share with others. It also helps you to keep an eye on the health of your plant. If there's a pest or a disease that is developing and starting to cause damage, you will know very quickly if you're hand watering on a regular basis. Because you're used to seeing the plant, you get to see what normal looks like, and then when abnormal rears its ugly head, you'll be able to identify it very quickly, and therefore you'll be able to implement a solution to that problem more quickly. The other advantage of hand watering is, of course, it's great exercise. You all saw me struggling with that large bucket of water. I believe it's supposed to hold 5 gallons, but it actually holds close to 7 gallons of water. And so that means that that bucket weighs anywhere between 40 and 60 pounds, according to the average weight of a gallon of water, which is somewhere around 8 pounds. So I get my resistance work in. I definitely do some sweating while I'm out here watering. And we also do quite a bit of walking because of the way things are situated here. I want you to keep in mind that sometimes you'll have everything that you'd like to have to get a project finished, and many times, at least in my experience, you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to talk to the Lord about it, and He's going to say to you, what do you have in your hands? And so we want to encourage you that as you're thinking about this transition, as you maybe some of you are making this transition, use what you have until you can get a better solution, until you can get a better system. Work with what you have to the best of your ability, and God will truly bless it for you. And until next time, go ahead and be blessed.